Afternoon. I'm Vincent Palmieri, President and Treasurer of Asian Pacific Community Awareness. And this afternoon we have the pleasure of talking with candidate for Nevada Governor, Tom Heck. Thank you for joining us this afternoon on this Easter Sunday.
Vincent, I'm so glad to be here. It's just great. I just love it, talking with people like you and answering the questions that you care most about.
Well, what I find is important to the Asian community are the issues. And the first question I'd like to ask you as governor, what would be the first issue you would address as governor?
Well, oftentimes people talk about day one, but for me, day one is November 3rd after the voters elect me. I start going around the country to find the best of the best for my department heads because I need strong, truth-telling, honest, moral people running the departments. And then I will work to hire those people and then get them to begin hiring people of their own. But then on day one, I'm going to fire the top three layers of leadership in Nevada because that's the only way you change the culture and you get rid of the deep state. And then after that happens, then we start focusing on the various departments, auditing each department for fraud, waste, and abuse. And then in the meantime, I'm going to be setting up an Office of Inspector General. Well, why do we do that? Well, in the military, as you know, we always had an Office of Inspector General
Right.
to root out fraud, waste, and abuse. And that's where the money's going. So we're going to root out fraud, waste, and abuse by establishing that office. There will be the lead office for people to go to when they have those issues, as well as suggestions on how to save taxpayer dollars.
Well, I have to tell you, it's nice to hear that somebody wants to get down to the root cause of our problems, and that's the way to do it. I think I look at the office of governor as a CEO. And as a CEO, you have to know who's below you, what they're doing, what they're not doing, where the money is going, and how the money is being spent. So I think that's a excellent beginning.
Well, I think one of the things that I plan to do is when we do legislation for the government, right now every problem, the solution is money. I don't believe that's true. What you have to do if you're spending money on program, you got to have some goal and objective. So my sense is every legislative action that comes to me, I want to be a goals and objectives. And then at the end of the year, if they don't meet the goals and objectives, the program sunsets and the legislature gets to try again. Because we can't continue to fund programs in Nevada that don't work, and there's a bunch of them.
I agree with you on that point also because business doesn't operate that way.
No. And we need to run Nevada like a business, and that's what I will do.
Exactly, exactly. I'm very involved with the Asian community. So, as a governor, what could you do to improve the life of the Asian community, the livelihood of the Asian, make them feel more safe, make them feel that government here is friendly to them and wants to help them?
Well, there's two things, Vincent. First, like the federal government in dealing with different cultures, we have ambassadors. My belief is one, I'm going to have in the Office of Inspector General someone responsible for every 2 or 3 rural areas. Similarly, I'm going to have an ambassador for the Asian community, for the Latino community, for the Mexican community, and then whatever other ones we have, black community. I think the blacks are very important voters, and they're all forgotten. I wrote an article, an op-ed about the forgotten rurals, but the Asians are forgotten, the Latinos are forgotten, the blacks are forgotten, especially once these people smile at you and get elected. And that's the problem we have in Nevada. It's the good old boy syndrome. Elect me, and then they forget about you. In my op-ed to the rurals, I committed to go and visiting them on an annual basis, and my staff, those ambassadors, would visit quarterly. And then we're going to take back action items for people to handle. I want to meet with the Asian community, and what I'm going to do as governor is I'm going to try to do town halls where they are, probably in Reno, probably in Las Vegas, and wherever there are large groups of Asians. I want to do town halls. The only way you hear what their issues are and concerns are, you got to talk to them, as you well know,
Exactly.
Vincent.
Yes. And if you want to talk to the Asian community at any time now or when you become governor, I'm more than happy to help
And
you.
I will take you up on that. We will do
Uh,
that.
And I'd like to know why someone of your caliber, a very successful man, good military career, why do you want to take on the establishment?
I have had too many jobs, Vincent, where they said, you can't do that. And these Republican establishment, this deep state, have said to me, you can't do that. It's not your term. And when people tell me that, I get fired up because it's America. It's a land of opportunity. I can do anything I want, and we don't have to be subject to their rules. And it's not, may not be my turn, but they don't get to decide, Vincent. It's the voters who get to decide whose turn it is and who gets to do what. You voters, you vote for me. We will revolutionize government and politics in Nevada.
And that's a message that we really need to get out to the Asian community so they can understand that here in America, it is the people that decide. If we have a lousy government, it's because we didn't get out to vote and vote for the right people. So we need to get out and we need to vote, and we need to vote for people who have the skills to hold the offices that they're applying for. Not someone we like, not someone who's always in the news 24/7. You need to look at the candidates. And that's why we're doing this, because we have been interviewing candidates. We put them on our website. We talk to them one-on-one, because this information will go out through social media, through our website, to the Asian community. So when it comes time to voting, they can know who Tom Heck is.
Right.
They can know Tom Heck has a game plan. So I've always been the type of a guy in business and in sports, you always have to have plan B.
That's
Do you
right.
have a plan B?
Well, you know, I was in basically a professional military education program in the Air Force. And I was sitting next to this a fighter. He was the backseat in the fighter, which is a navigator, and he always talked to me about you always had a plan B. Absolutely, I always have a plan B. The plan B is you do as planned, planning to win this, and then fix as required. What we have found in our effort to campaign is that maybe this door is closed, but we keep going and we find other doors. I found a door with you to the Asian community and others, and that's what it's about. The biggest reason, on top of what it's the voters that get to decide, not the Republican Party, as to who to vote for, but I believe I am the only qualified candidate. All these other guys, they're one-trick ponies. They're either career politicians, the politically elite, or wannabes. And, you know, I have over 50 different functional areas, departments that I've run. In 20 different organizations. I have an undergraduate degree in basically engineering math, and I have 3 graduate degrees, well, actually 2 graduate degrees and a postgraduate degrees. So I have a diverse education, diverse career and experience, and I bring that to bear for the voters. And I will change this whole government when they vote for me.
I know for a fact that the Asian community, they worry about the rule of law, and they support the rule of law, and they also support voter identity. And I can tell you that because they have asked me, how come Americans don't have to have an ID card, a national ID card like we have in China to vote? We can't do anything without that ID card.
Well, you remember, Vincent, in Iraq, remember it was the purple thumb? Well, I'm going to tell you, there's like 3 things that Americans, not Republicans, not Democrats, Americans support. They support voter ID, they support school vouchers, and they support closed borders and merit immigration. As governor, I will first try to work with the legislature, but as I mentioned to you earlier, I'm going to have 3 packs. One of the packs is to basically support these referendums. So if the legislature won't do it, I'm going to take voter ID to the voters, and they get to decide, and I'm sure they'll decide for voter ID. I will take school vouchers to the voters, and they will decide. Money follows the child. Parents have the vested interest in the success of their children. And the last one, of course, closed borders, what is more of a federal issue than we can do. But it'll happen. That's why, my campaign strategist to talk to you about, it's going to be year 3 because it'll take us time to get through the referendum process, but I will champion it, I assure you.
Immigration, you're right, is more of a federal problem, but which most people don't understand here in Las Vegas, in Nevada, is that we are a sanctuary state or city. People don't know it. It may not be official, but we are. What can you do as governor to make sure we eliminate being a sanctuary state?
Well, first and foremost, Vincent, is that in Nevada, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Education, Governor Walker in Wisconsin had all kinds of great ideas. We'll take his ideas. DeSantis in Florida has a lot of great ideas. I'm going to plagiarize those too. And then Governor Abbott, what did he do? Put him on a bus and send him to D.C. I'm going to hire a whole convoy of buses and we're going to send them all to D.C. And I don't care about law abiding. Law means you come here legally. And if you're not here legally, you're not a, whatever they call it, an undocumented alien. You're an illegal alien.
Yes.
You broke the law. Well, put them on buses and ship them to D.C. and let them figure it out. Because our communities are struggling on their own to survive, and we certainly aren't going to force them to bear the burden of all these others, not to mention the drugs, the terrorism, and all these other things that these people will bring. We're going to stop that, and by God, I'm going to have an executive order that says Nevada will not have sanctuary cities, and if anybody thinks they can, I'm cutting off their money. Pure and simple. Let them take me to court. See, what people don't understand is the governor has lots of power, and people think, well, he'll sue you. Well, you know what? The average lawsuit, it takes $30 and a little bit of research, but the average lawsuit takes 2 to 3 to 7 years to work through the courts. By that time, I'll have made all these changes and been out of office. So we are going to win this. I'm going to win it for the voters, and we're going to make a difference for Nevada. We're going to get rid of the deep state. The Republican Party doesn't get to decide who you get to vote for or who you get to hear. This is a free country. Freedom of speech is paramount, and I guarantee you, I will protect freedom of speech everywhere I go.
Thank you. I like that answer a lot. I know as a governor you probably can't do anything about, because this is a federal issue, is what is your feeling about amnesty? A lot of people are talking about amnesty for all. And we don't know if we have 11 million or 20 million illegals in this country.
Well, I'm with the Asian community. It's the rule of law. Don't care how you cut it. There is no amnesty. They broke the law. There's consequences for breaking the law. Now, the DACA, the children that came with these families who are innocents, we need to work out a solution for that, and I would support something like that for Washington. Again, we don't control that, but my position is you broke the law, you already broke the law, you're starting off breaking the law, why would you not continue breaking the law? And that's what happens with the illegals. Well, they don't tell people they're illegal, and then they have to do this to get an illegal ID card, and then they get an illegal, each one of these steps is a felony. That is unacceptable, and that's why it's so bad that we have illegals in here, because they don't just commit one illegal act. I guarantee you that all of them commit multiple illegal acts because they're forced to.
In closing, I would like you to say something, if you don't mind, specifically directed at the Asian community.
Well, first off, I applaud the Asian community because they have the total package. They have very close-knit families. They raise their children to be smart and well-educated. I am very sympathetic to this piece about they're being discriminated by Yale and Harvard and now in California. That is unconscionable to me. In a free country, that whole thing about affirmative action needs to go away. And as your governor, I may not be able to do a lot about it, but I can get on the soapbox and support you in letting your kids go to school that they've worked very hard for over 18 years, and they're being kept back because of some affirmative action, which is basically reverse discrimination, unacceptable in America and unacceptable to me as your governor. I will campaign for that and support your efforts to put your children in the schools you want them in.
Tom, thank you very much for taking the time to talking with us, and your message will definitely get out to the community, And it's been a pleasure having you here and listening to what your campaign is all about.
Thank you so much, Vincent. And I'm proud to talk to you as Asians because I've always been extremely impressed with how well you raise your families, how law-abiding you are, and how well you take care of things. Thank you so much for hearing me, my message. The only thing I tell you, Monday night at 7 o'clock, I do a town hall. Please visit my town hall. I will answer your individual questions, which I am most excited to do. Mondays at 7, every Monday at 7 o'clock, electheck.com. electheck.com. And if you don't get your answers there, call me 775-393-0500 and I answer my phone and would love to talk to you. I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear what you care about. Thank you so much. God bless America. God bless Nevada, and God bless all of you. Thank you.